morning, everybody. It is your girl Brittny Charity, and welcome back to Saturday morning story time. Ooh-wee! I am so excited about today's show because I have a feeling you're really gonna love it. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy today's program. I know a place where the living gets rough sometimes. I know a place where the loving gets rough sometimes. But in this place I find the strength I need to climb this humble mountain of my life. It takes me back to a sacred place. I hear her accent and I know those eyes. Gives me the strength that I need to climb. Ooh, oh, keeps me safe. It's in the warmth of his embrace, and in this space I find more strength that I need to climb. Oh, that humble mountain of my life. Oh, humble mountain of my life. That's a little one by me called Humble Mountain. Alright, now it is my great pleasure to introduce to you today's reading, Pierre Piano, by South Boston, Virginia-based musician, illustrator, and now author Dane Ferguson. Yeah! I met Dane last year with his girlfriend Liliana in South Boston, Virginia, through our mutual friend Shelby Talbot. Shout out to Shelby. I love you, girl. I miss you so much. Now, Dane is an incredibly talented artist and a kind soul whose book actually reflects the story of taking the journey to find oneself, to discover oneself, and be true to yourself through the lens of a musician. He illustrated it, he wrote it. It is so spot on and terrific, and I really hope that you enjoy today's reading as much as I've enjoyed reading it and sharing it with the people in my life. But without any much further ado, let's let the author himself do the introducing of the book for you today. Thank you.
Hey, it's Dane Ferguson here. I just wanted to say thank you to Brittny. I appreciate you reading my book on Storytime. I'm really excited about it. And here is Pierre Piano.
Pierre loved music more than anything. He spent countless hours in his room with headphones over his ears. Sometimes he was listening to old records his father had given him. There he is on his rug. Other times he was recording music of his own. Rarely did a day pass without Pierre making some kind of music. One of his favorite things to do was discover music in the world around him. The birds showed him new melodies with their songs. The distant passing trains made him dance with their rhythms. One night, he held a microphone out of his bedroom window to record the crickets chirping in the woods. Even with all this beautiful music surrounding him, Pierre could not help but feel like something was missing. No matter how hard he tried, he could not make his music sound just like the records he listened to. Pierre often wandered through the woods behind his house. Each time, he walked the same path, fumbling through new songs that he was working on. On these walks, he would pass by the cabin of Ollie Organ and Leslie. There were always cool new sounds coming from inside the cabin. There he is on his walk. And there's the cabin. One afternoon, Pierre decided to stop and ask the pair how they were able to come up with such interesting music all of the time. There he is knocking on the door. Ollie's eyes lit up as he told Pierre of his trips to the city with Leslie. He talked about all of the different instruments they were introduced to along the way, the beautiful stages they had played on, and how wonderful it was working together to create new music. Here's Pierre in the living room of Ollie Organ and Leslie, and they're sharing tales of past musical journeys. That night, Pierre could not sleep. His brain raced with all that he might discover if he took a trip to the city. Where would he go when he got there? How would he know where to find the music? When did the next bus leave? The next bus left at 8:45 the following morning, and Pierre was on it. He watched his small town get smaller and smaller as the bus pulled away. Already, there were new melodies dancing around inside of him. He was on his way. There he goes. When Pierre arrived in the city, he could not believe how loud it was. He could hardly hear himself think. This was both incredibly exciting and awfully scary. All he could think to do was walk and hope that eventually he would find the music. As he got closer to the center of the city, he could hear it. There was a song bouncing on top of the noise, and it was coming from around the corner. Pierre followed the sound to a lone guitar standing next to a hat, a small handwritten sign, and a stack of albums with the name Ginny Guitar on the cover. He stood and watched as Ginny played. She created chords and textures that were totally unfamiliar to Pierre, and he was entranced. She made wonderful music. There she is, busking. When the last note of her song came to an end, there was no applause. No one looked up as they walked by. It seemed that no one even noticed she was there, except Pierre. I'm sure a lot of us musicians know the feeling. He bought one of her albums and thanked her for sharing her music. Ginny could tell that this was Pierre's first time in the city. She invited him to a concert scheduled for that evening where she would be performing alongside some of her friends. Pierre knew that he had found the music. There he is buying her album. And there he is looking at the poster for their show. Pierre chose a seat near the back of the museum under a painting of an orange and blue cat. The first song began. He watched as each instrument stepped out front to play their solo, only to melt back into the togetherness of the band. It was like nothing he had ever heard or seen before. Ginny's guitar chords sounded like a friendly conversation. Bar bass's deep tones rumbled, steady like a heartbeat. Jim Djembe's rhythms made the paintings dance, and Lily Lips had the most beautiful voice. Her words made Pierre's heartstrings tight. Jim Djembe, Lily Lips. Each one of them shined so brightly on their own, but together they created something completely unique. He closed his eyes and listened as their music swirled around the museum. When the song was over, the band gestured for Pierre to join them on stage. He only knew how to play his own sounds. Surely they would not be enough for the occasion. Scared as he was, he realized that this was why he came in the first place. He had to try. There he goes, trying. The second song started, and Pierre began tapping out notes. A note here, a note there, a note here and there. Before he knew it, he was playing right along with the band. He even played a solo. As he played, each instrument looked over at Pierre, their eyes filled with excitement. They loved his sound. It was unlike any sound they had ever heard. And there they are, all in sync. This newly formed band continued to play until the museum closed, and then they played some more for the artwork. On the bus ride home, Pierre realized something. We all have our own sound, each one of us. It is special to you, and no one can play your sound the way you do. He was filled with gratitude. He no longer felt like something was missing. Instead, he was excited to be back home in his own studio recording music. Both his own and the music of his hot new band, the Sculptors. The end. And there you have it, everybody. Pierre Piano by Dane Ferguson. I really hope you enjoyed today's reading. Thanks for joining me. Be sure to check out Dane's art, music, and books, all in the links below. Also, make sure to check out my exclusive interview with Dane on Patreon, patreon.com/ukesfordreams, and you can read all about it and get to know this awesome guy a little bit more. We look forward to all the great things to come. Have a great weekend. Stay blessed. I love y'all. Peace.